Hello and welcome to a long-awaited video from me, your host, Abe. Now, in today's video, we're going to do a bit of a code review of my previous work. Um, I've been away for a little bit. I've had some personal issues. I've had some personal health issues. Had some freelancing that I was doing, and I've just been very busy, very busy. Yeah, too busy apparently. Um, so I've noticed that it was my last video was on November of 2024, so it's been almost a year. I'm really sorry, guys. Um, so I've done a little bit of work to the project since the last time that you've seen me, since the last time that we've talked. There have been some improvements. The project is still one project, but I've broken it up into modules. So now there are 3 modules in there. There is a database, there is a website, and there is a shared folder or shared module. Um, so while I've been away, I've been kind of doing some freelancing for some different, couple of different companies here and there, doing some Java development, and I am now all freed up with that, and I am trying to get back into the circuit. So I do apologize greatly for my absence. Um, I will try to keep you guys updated a little more, and then I will try to be a little more active with my videos like I used to. So without diving too much into making this video about where I've been, um, let's talk about what has been done. Um, so let's go ahead and switch this up, and we'll take a look at my IDE here in a second. I've modularized the project, so there's 3 different modules in it now. Let's take a look. So let's turn on this. All right. So as you can see, I have a database module, I've got a shared module, and I've got a website module. Now, the things that I've done since we've last been here, I've overhauled the README, so this looks a little more friendly. We've updated it to be what tech we're using. There is a little bit of a There's a little bit of a table of contents now, which kind of gives you an overview of what this all is. Some of the features that we're planning to add to this. So this is those of you who haven't watched the first video. Um, this is a tech company. So when I got out of high school, right out of high school, like 2008, right out of high school, I was the local tech dude in my town. So everybody knew me as I was that nerd who would fix your computer for next to nothing, just because it was the sake of fixing tech. So um, I started this right out of high school, and it was great. Everybody knew me, everything was great, whatever. I made kind of a okay-ish thing from it for quite a few years. Um, until around COVID when I sort of stopped doing tech work and started to focus uh, more on my programming and my software development. As I, quite frankly, I don't know, I've been in the tech game for too long. Like I've been around. I personally started my family got their first PC. It was Windows 95. We got it in 97, and I was that nerd that was like, "Holy hell, this is a magical box of joy." TV just shows me stuff. This lets me interact with it. How can I interact with it? Why does this work? And so I went down this nerdy little rabbit hole from 97 till about 2001, um, where I was just ever so curious of pulling computers apart, putting them back together, pretty much any sort of tech, I would pull it apart and put it back together. Um, so out of high school, I was that guy that would fix your computer, would fix your laptop, yada yada, and mostly I just enjoyed it, so um, I would do it for nothing. After I started doing it more and more and more, I started to realize that I was doing pen and paper. I was keeping track of tickets and pen and paper. It was old. Um, so now that I've got some new skills, some shiny skills, I started building this tech project. I believe I believe we started this about a year and a half ago. Um, um, and it was the idea of it is that there will be a website that your customers can go to. They can register an account. They can register the tech that they have from their computers to their monitors to whatever. They can just register all the tech they have. And then from there, they can also create service tickets so that they want to be able to say, "Hey, I laptop broke or my phone broke. I need to get it repaired. Make an appointment." Um, because what I used to do as a technician is, if people weren't able to get to me, I would go to them to pick it up and bring it back to my shop, and I would take care of it there. So this was a way that I figured, okay, customers can create their own profile so that they have an area where they can see that, okay, I got these devices, and I can check in on tickets so that they can see like the service status of their computer, who's working on it, yada yada. But then also there is a employee portal. An employee can go to a different domain within the website family to then log in and track their time and whatnot. See their little profile of like when they joined or when they started, what their rate is, who their um, supervisor is. Um, well, there's two aspects there that I intend to manage, but then I also want to make services and devices a little bit more um, managed as well, so that um, we'll have an area where people can track all of the equipment they have. They can service it. This may not seem great for like the average person, but when you get into something like servicing companies, and companies have tech that requires routine management, like say servers, um, that's where it gets a little more important for that aspect. But also, we'll have services a management service where we can add and move services again and through employee portal. Um, that'll be restricted by roles and accesses, which again we'll get into that as we progress through this as well. So the idea is of the features to come. You can read through those. The tech stack that we're using. See here, our backend is powered by Spring. We are using version 4 at the moment, which should be the latest one when it comes out. Working on it. Framework, we also have Jakarta EE at the latest. Our database is a SQL database. We're also using the latest version of it at the moment. Our security also derives from Spring. So again, we're using 4. Maven, because I like Maven. We're using Java 24 for this, although as of this recording, Java 25 had just launched today. So this may see an upgrade. Sure. And finally, for annotations, we're using Lombok version 1.18.38. You can continue to follow down through the README to figure out how to get set up and installed, where you can clone it, go to the branch, verify everything is good. You can also find out how you can go about contributing to the project if you'd like to. This is ideally like an open source project where people can just come in and fork it, and if they want to use it, go for it. Otherwise, you can just use it as a kind of a sandbox, sort of like a giant Hello World project, but not. There's guidelines on how to contribute, and you can just follow those along if you're interested. And there is some example usages of how I think might actually be. Anyhow, there is a README you can read through. Some of the key changes are the fact that we're using Spring. We now have it in modules. That just simply allows us to separate our code better. I'm not going to get into what modules are. However, I've also added this Docker Compose file to make life easier for spinning up a database. So if you want to just come in here and give it a run, will effectively turn on your database. So for an example of that, you'll see here I've got a few Docker containers running already. But if I just go ahead and spin this up, you'll see that those have started, and now we have Docker running with a Postgres database that is up and going. Now, lovely thing about what I love about IntelliJ is that I can come over here and I can connect to database, Postgres, uh, this one here, localhost, using app and a super secret password, which is also very not secure. Um, the database, as you can see on the left here, where we have it under environment PostgresDB, it is just labtech. I can type labtech underscore e. And of course, we'll test our connection. Looks like it failed. Oh, that's because our port is not the right port. Our port is on there, but because we're running Docker containers, we had to expose it to a port. I exposed it to 5464 just because I have other Docker containers that are running on that database. So now I can come in here and I can see that my database, some stuff. So I've got some example customers in here, some mock-up devices. This is just dummy data. Honestly, I think I had AI throw me together some dummy data. These are our services from the original video and our user profiles here. So I'm actually going to go ahead and delete that record so I can show you what it looks like, what the site looks like so far, or what the project looks like so far. Right, so now if we come down and turn our database on, everything's all wired up. She connected fine. We'll run our actual website. And again, that looked like it worked fine. We'll pop up an incognito window here and we'll post. Ours is exposed just on 80. So you'll see here, this is what the site looks like so far. LabTech, a trusted partner, blah, 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 blah. Come through here, we can register. So I'm just going to throw in some data. Super, super good with that. Secure. Now I've made an account, I can go and log in. And now I'm logged in. Now you'll see I have this profile button up top, so I can go and view my profile. But I haven't gotten that far yet. That is code to come in a future video. But for now, you can see that this is the basis of the website. Security, you can log in. And yeah, so we'll go over all that when we get into it. For now, let's turn that stuff off and go dive into some review. So I've changed everything on the database. This is, instead of being a typical controller, services, repos view, I kind of put this in based on features. So you'll see the customer has the customer model, controller, the repository, and the service all bundled in it. This was more of just a design choice. This was because of the mass amount of these. I didn't want to have controllers and then have like 6 or 7 different controllers in there. It just seemed more organized this way. Um, pop into the controller. First thing that I notice here is that it's good that I've got the API and it's good that I got the versioning. This should be plural, just based off API designs, because I'm coming into customers. And from here, I guess I'm searching for the customer, looking for their devices. So that's not good. Device devices is technically heck. Oh, I don't have a device control. So in a future video, we're going to add in a device controller because we shouldn't be searching for customers' devices through the customer controller because they should be just solely focused on the customer um, as an endpoint. We're opening up more than one thing inside of a control. That's just a security hassle and kind of a night. So this whole thing would have to get less export. Like I suppose I could always just copy and paste and move around, but like I could copy and paste this controller, drop it in here. I'll do all the refactoring. Um, back of it. Okay, good. So there are some annotations that can be thrown around for not nulls, but like, and again, customer device does not need to be inside of the service. Kind of good that it's not. I guess I can get rid of that up. So this just needs to keep track of customers services. It doesn't need to know anything about customer devices. In fact, let's just do this. Call this customer device controller. It's going to be search device, all. That's just all customer. So I don't need that. Care about the customer. You could say. Um, get rid of this. So that cleans all that up. This is going to now be. Just gonna call this device customer. We'll just go. This is going to be devices. Now I can get rid of that. I can get rid of that. But now, like other chain, and I can come controller and I do this because we're not worrying about devices. About devices, we don't devices. Okay. So there's that being refactored and cleaned up a bit, and then ports here, same imports. Okay. Now we've got another controller, so a separate controller that will keep track of customers. Um, Although we don't need the search term because we technically know what we're doing because it's a get request. We could technically get rid of search and search. Um, Now, why do we have an at? I don't know. I don't think I need this. This is just a straight up get mapping this. Whereas this one is going to take an at all to fetch all devices. This one is going to be not all devices. This one here is going to be taking in, allowing more or less um, it would look like somebody going to API. Yeah, sort of like that. Kind of ideally, API v1 devices and then have customer ID as. So this is what this one would sort of look like um, versus this one. So that cleans that up and follows a little bit better practices and principles, considering that it's searching for devices. Now we're going here. I can go back to this one, and again, that only needs to be all. Doesn't even technically need all. I could just say get customers. I go here. I made just a get, just a straight up get request to customers. Kind of assumed or explicit that it's that cleans that up a bit. Okay, so the actual customer. This is just mappings to database tables and another I love services. Um, Employees. Let's take a look at the employee controller. Again, this is employees. Search all. Um, you don't need to do this again. Just call this, and we can get rid of this. And we're from get to employees. We're assuming we're grabbing all of them. That's good. Here, those just interfaces for converters. So services. Take a look at the service controller again. There's services, and we can get rid of this because get mapping, so it's sort of self-explanatory. We'll take a look at that. So these should also technically be annotated as not null. Um, Snag that, copy that, because I didn't do that up in customer repository. So we'll just tack on the at null to those. This is just not necessarily. Um, it's just um, again also follows better practices. I'm not gonna say best practices because, but it definitely follows a better practice to get in the habit of it. Yeah, and services there. Cool. And once again, we'll dive into the registration controller. This is where the user registers. Um, this could definitely be written a lot better. Um, just in that, again, API profile should be profiles. Um, change that up, and then I'm going to change the. I am going to have to change other endpoints that call it. Ones side of places. So this one here makes a call to profiles.find. Okay, cool. So this one here goes to profiles.find. So um, so profiles. Let's go back. So this is the registration controller part where she's going. The registration one is going in here, making another call out to another service to register profile. So again, we'll go with files, and this is a get, so I don't explicitly state all here. Um, okay. So now we can come back into profiles, register, rid of the all. So if we're just straight up get request that profiles, we're just assuming it. Just using along with there are some other changes that could be done in here as well. Um, um, that's just kind of a basic run over of this. That looks fine. So now we'll close all this stuff, close all that, and we'll take a. So I'm just going to show you what's in here. So for in here, there is a custom user. Um, this is partly to do with getting authorities from people come in, whether they have which role. This is very, very templated. It's not actually finished, nor is it. Yeah, no, it's not anywhere near finished yet. It's very early stages. These are just the different DTOs or data transfer objects. So these are the actual objects that get passed around the. These are the records that get passed around the network as data objects, rather than passing in hard actual object. Because if we were to jump to the actual object, you'll see that there is a an identifier in here, which I know we're still using that identifier. My bad. There should be a ID for this. Generally, when you're doing things like, let's take a look at these. Because if we jump to here, there is always a unique ID um, that just is used for identifying each record. This is usually database sensitive information that you don't want to sharing. And also, generally, when you're passing and sharing things around, there's usually other pieces of it may or may not want to um, passing around all willing, like say, for example, passwords sometimes. In this case, my use case, I am because of the use case that I profiles. Um, Also, we are going to be in a future video covering security, specifically security for securing APIs, and I will get into that once we do another video. But I do heavily want to explain and show you some of the security features in Spring Boot and some of the ways that it makes it easy down your application. Um, Also going forth, there is a couple of services that get shared. You saw this one here. Let's change this profile. This is more or less for login information, which is why it's in the shared. Because although I do have one security layer in the website for logins, and secure whatnots, I also have one in the database section as well, which also requires some authentication. Just a double like what I have. It's not exactly required, but it is it is what it is. If we jump into the website side, website side, in here we have the configuration where we're lining up the profiles. So like these tickets and profiles, they require to have a user tag. Uh, Pretty much all the home, the registry doesn't require any parameter and any login. You'll see in a future video when we do security that this right here, where we're securing the API, right now we're everything. That is a no-go. That is a huge issue in necessarily want accessing your API interfaces. So um, I will go over how we will authenticate, um, secure our API. I've been asked a few times before about how to best secure it, and I figured it's just easier to make a video for it. So that is most likely going to be the next video, is securing a web application, followed by, I don't know, we'll see when we get there. Um, Again, this is another registration controller where I had come in to change the profiles. Files, everything right. What this is here is we go into templates, and I'm probably confusing some people. So this is coming from our registration. when people um, go to the form to register and they fill out their username, their email, password, they type their password, they're going to click send or register. That's going to then, this register button is going to take this new user object that we have and it's going to fill it with this information. Then it's going to pass it to this registration point. That's where the registration controller comes in. You go into registration/new. Technically, do I need the new? I don't need the new because I am making a post to registration. So I can come back into here. I can get rid of it. I can just say, hey, I want to post this to here. And that'll take care of noticing whether or not have no creds, you have bad creds, or if the user, or sorry, if the user exists, or if the creds don't match, it'll return you to the applicable error message. And this is just a redirect to the same registry but with a parameter. And if we're in here, we can see that if the parameter exists of no cred, we tell them that they have no creds, no credentials were provided. If the user already exists, then we tell them that, hey, the user already exists, passwords. And that just pops up above the login registration form. And again, get, you don't necessarily need the all because is but I don't know if anybody that I remember if I use that or if I actually use that anywhere. Growth in it. Okay, I'm not. So I can get rid of that for now and it won't throw an issue. So again, this just helps clean up um, the readability of it, but it also helps the best practices in this, in the sense that we know we're in a registration controller. And so if we're posting it, we know that it's going to be a new user. And if we're getting, you know that we're fetching, we're not providing anything else, we're just simply get me everybody. And it's going to get you everybody. I don't know if I need to go over these. Just HTML files that make up the website. You'll notice here, again, this is one thing I love about Timeleaf, is that I can use the Timeleaf tag. I can tell it that I want to replace this div, and then I pass in the location of what I want to replace it with. So in this case, I go into fragments folder and into the header HTML, and I take the fragment named header. So if I come in here, you'll see that this is the header, and here's where I started out up here, and then this is where I define th fragment equals header. This is how it knows that this is the header for here, because this is the class file, so it's folder file name, and then this is just saying, hey, get me named variable header. So it knows that it's taking in this giant div, and so it's going to replace that one spot with all of this code when I load the website up. This is where this is where we've seen the header, so that we've seen, but we didn't see this. We didn't see dashboard, admin dashboard, or database, because the user that I logged in was just a straight up regular user with no actual permissions or authentications or anything, just a regular user. So that's why I saw profile next to the name LabTech on the left-hand side of the header. And on the right-hand side of the header, this is where we saw logout, register, or log in. And that's header. Because that's reused throughout the project pretty much on every page, this allows me to write HTML things. I was doing object-oriented programming, not a web developer. I don't really know object-oriented thing in the web world. I used to avoid web like because I was not a web don't like. Um, Mind you, if somebody happens to know a cheat that I don't that makes it fun, cool. Meanwhile, I hate it. So this is a very bare bone basic HTML page. Again, this just allows me to create something once and use it. I could technically do the same thing for footer. I just that's just as easy. Of course, I got an error page, index page, which is just the home page. Um, but you'll see here, I also had to do some with the newer Spring. There's been a few changes, and I had to wire this right to work properly for a multi-module project. So I had to tell it where to scan for components, and since we're only scanning this module, um, I'm telling it to only look inside of big and sitemap. And I'm telling it to ignore data structure auto configuration because when I run this application, it does not have a database. It does not. Without uh, these specific things in here, application is active because it tries to load a database. Um, yeah. So that was reviewing this video or reviewing this code. Um, in the next video, because I didn't want to make this ridiculously long. But I did want to make it a um, did want to make it into a video where I explain uh, some of what's been going on, where I've been, and I wanted to review a little bit of this code with you. So in a future video or the next video, we're going to go into security aspect. So if that interests you, hit a like, subscribe, and get ready for that next video. We're going to dive into how we can use environment variables. Um, I will walk you through and ease you through how to set things up and how to set up environment variables, how we can set up so that our project is reading those environment variables, and how we can go about keeping environment variables safe because you don't want to leak those into your GitHub repository because then safe. So the idea here, you'll actually notice, you would have noticed that I had a .env file in my repository, in my file structure, and it was red. That's because it is not tracked by GitHub. And the reason I did that was so that I could specify my environmental variables without having to in public. The whole purpose of environment variables are to secure inside of environment. So if you have any questions about what I've done or you want any more detail, feel free to leave a comment. Let me know what it is that you want more questions on or want more information on. And in the next video, we will, like I said, um, go over the security aspects. We'll lock it down so that every time we're passing an HTTP request, we're passing an authentication header with a bearer token. Bearer token will be a JW, and I will show you how we can take that JOT and pilot it, see what scope is that everybody has, and apply those so that um, that way we have security built in ground up. As obviously, I'll get into explaining more security. Security is layers. It's just like an onion. So many layers to it. Not about not about making a silver bullet, one bulletproof sort of vest. Like bulletproof vest won't protect you, won't save your life. It might, but good chances are you need other things to also come into play once a attack happens. So we'll get more into how to secure your website and your web applications. I keep calling it a web. We'll get into how to secure your web application and API in the next video. Um, yeah, if have any comments, let me know what you're confused about. If you'd like me to go in a little more into Docker, for example, because I just briefly mentioned that I made a compose file. I didn't actually go over it. If you have any questions, curiosities about those, let me know, and I will see you next video. Always keep that coffee cup full and keep your curiosity sharp.